Hey, everybody. Welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be coming to you live from Toronto, Canada. Toronto, what's up, everybody? Look at this. We're at the IAM conference. I got Diana Corona here, the president of EDC, Enterprise Database Corporation. How are you doing, Diana?
I am doing great. How about you?
I am pumped up to be in Canada.
Yes.
Here. This is beautiful. We are in the main Toronto Convention Center. This is the big show here.
Yes.
It's incredible. Massive space. Just months ago when we were here kind of doing a walkthrough, there was a car show, like the auto show was here. Yeah. It was incredible. So to see IAM on this stage with 1,900 people from 118 countries around the world is just absolutely mind-boggling.
Yes, it is. Yes. No, I can tell you that when we came in on Saturday, because we had to come in to set up the booth, of course, it was empty.
Yeah.
So when I walked in this morning and I saw everybody here, it was just amazing to see that contrast between, the empty hall, where everybody's setting up, still lots of activity going on. And then it's just the hustle and bustle, everybody just being here, shaking hands.
And now we're here.
Yes.
Hit that like button, get in the comments. I want to hear from you. Let me know who you are, where you are. Are you here in Toronto with us? Are you back home? Haven't made the trip yet? Like, let me know what's going on. If you got questions, we got Diana Corona here for 20 minutes, and then we've got more guests coming on later. So it's super exciting. And Diana, EDC yet once again is a big time sponsor here at the IAM conference. Why is it so important? Why is it such a focal point of your sales and marketing efforts at EDC?
Well, it's part of our core engagement philosophy when it comes to our customers, to be where they are, right? And not just to be there, but to also support them and to support the industry. That has always been one of our core values since the day we became engaged with the industry. So we're happy to be where our customers are.
Yeah. And tell people out there who may not be familiar, I don't know what rock they're living under, but if they're not familiar with EDC, tell people a little bit about what you do, because your suite of products has been growing rapidly over the last few years.
Yes. So thank you for that. So we're a 24-year-old software company, right? But we've been supporting the moving and storage industry for about 16, 17 years now. And we started very small with a product that actually put our name on the map, right?
What was that initial flagship product that 99% of the industry was using?
Well, they still are, thankfully. It's EasyDPS. That's the flagship product, and it's used by pretty much all the movers that do moves for the Department of Defense, right? To interface with the Defense Personal Property System, and then also to interface with their own supply chain.
Yeah.
So that was the starting point that made us known in the industry. And then from there on, by just listening to our customer base and staying engaged, as we like to do, we realized that there were a suite of other issues or challenges, right, that we wanted to address. And we did. And that's how all the other suites of products came about. And actually the second one, and probably the most popular one, which is embedded in all of our products, is that Logistics Network. Okay. It's at the core of everything that we do. And all that it is a data exchange platform. Okay. It's an environment where companies, whether they're agents, origin or destination agents, where they do business in the United States, or they do business in Europe or Asia or anywhere else in the world, or they do business in the household goods industry or office moving or corporate relocation, they can exchange data securely, seamlessly. Okay. And data just flows seamlessly between the systems. So whether it's our system or another third-party system that's integrated with ours.
And that's really what y'all have always been about.
Yes.
Is connecting companies and their data to one another for the seamless flow of the data, right? Because the shipments can't flow if the data's not flowing, right? Yes. I've been working in the moving industry since 2006, and I've gone into so many offices and I've seen stacks of paper, the dreaded manila folders everywhere, and it's like we're living in a manila jungle in the summertime, and then God forbid a folder falls behind a cubicle somewhere, somebody takes it home and forgets to ever show back up to work, and this move is then gone forever,
Yes.
And so I was always fascinated by, you know, the value proposition of EDC and of your different product suites. I really think it's the future of how we have to work.
Correct. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. That's actually how the idea of logistics came about. Okay.
Yeah.
We were in a customer's office. We had just launched EasyDPS, and one of the byproducts of EasyDPS for the DoD moves is notifications. You know, as changes happen on the moves, customers get email alerts. At the time was, oh my God, you know, how revolutionary is that?
Yeah.
And we literally watched our customer print the email alert, walk over to the fax machine and fax it to an agent in Korea at the time. Okay.
Wow.
And we're like, come on, there's got to be a better way. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how logistics came about at the time. And actually, our all-time customers know it was named something very different. IACS, right? How cool is that? So
yeah,
it stood for Inter-Appliance Communication Service.
Inter-Clients Communication Service.
See, it's a mouthful, right?
Yeah,
so we said, okay, we got to find a better name for it. And
you could have called the not having to walk to the fax machine.
There you go. So yeah, we didn't have you to help us with the branding, but
I'm a marketing genius.
Yes, you are. Yeah. But yes, that's how it came about. And then from there, it just spread once customers realize that it's so much easier to work within the environment, right? Where you can set up criteria to exchange data. It doesn't matter what the customer or the partner or the vendor at the other end uses. Okay. It doesn't matter what software system they use, as long as they don't use pen and paper. You know, the data is going to get there. And then the data is also going to come back to you with updates.
You know, we're a very, you know, we're an industry that's been around for over 100 years, and we're very old school in a lot of ways. How have you overcome over the years? I'm sure you've encountered resistance to change and don't take my paper away. And, you know, this is my favorite pen, you know, like these kind of things. Right. And how have you overcome that resistance to change to infuse these organizations with that much needed, innovation?
Well, that's a very interesting question.
Because
change is difficult.
Yeah.
Okay. For anybody, let alone in an industry where I guess customers, when it comes to software systems, right, and software overall, you know, there's always something new going on, right? Because innovation is ongoing, as it should be. So how do you prove to them that something is actually going to work the way you told them it was going to work?
Right.
Well, number one, it's got to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two, you have to be patient. You have to be there. You have to be present, which is why we're so engaged. Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, one of the most common questions we received at the very beginning of launching logistics is, do they see my data?
Right.
Do they see all my data? Can they get access to my systems? No. So we literally had to draw on paper. Okay. Wasn't that ironic?
I've been a part of these meetings. I remember I was an early adopter of MoveStar. So I remember these things being diagrammed out for me because you know, we're very simplistic, us movers. We're like, how do I, you know, once you're in the warehouse, don't you have access to all the vaults?
Yes.
You know, these are questions. Get in the comments, hit that like button. We are live in Toronto at the annual meeting here at IAM. We're with Diana Corona here from EDC. We're having a blast out here. I wanted you to get in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you are. Check in right now. We got people coming to us here. We're going to bring some stuff up here. Oh, look at this. Ksenia here. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Awesome. Good to see you. David Nathan from Philadelphia. What's up, David?
Hello, David.
Look at Lynn. Good to see you again. Yes, Lynn, I saw you out in San Francisco. Danny Herskowitz tuning in from Jersey. What's up, Danny? Good to see you, buddy. Ksenia says, I am from the Ukraine, but live in Atlanta.
Well,
there
hello.
You go. She's looking for a job. Somebody hire Ksenia. Let's see, Jimmy, any updates on the U.S. Transcom contract rollout?
Well,
have you heard anything?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I was there in the room.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what happens when you go to the sessions, I guess. You learn things.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. What was that? Was there any highlights from that session this morning?
Well, any highlights? Lots of changes, you know, anticipated, right?
Lots of talk about changes.
Lack of communication. That's the common complaint that I've heard from everybody in the industry. A lot of unknowns. Movers don't know how they're going to make money, right?
Yeah.
The business model is not quite clear yet. So I think nothing that I've said is new.
No.
You know, we've heard that all before. So,
well, how much is it like a lack of like how much is a lack of communication, and how much is just like a lack of information, like a lot of TBD stuff out there?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. Okay. Obviously, US Transcom and Home Safe Alliance, right, want to be there and provide information and be helpful that way. To a certain extent, I'm sure they're also still trying to figure out the details as they go along and implement the program, right? So, but we understand that, you know, sometimes you kind of, I don't want to say you make it up as you go, but you make it up as you go.
Hey, that's what we do out here, you know?
Yes.
I mean, especially you're standing up, you know, Home Safe Alliance, I mean, is going to become the largest move management company in the world.
Correct.
Overnight. And I mean, talk about making up as you go along. I'm an entrepreneur. I got a small company. I can't imagine standing up an enormous company like that overnight, and all the, you know, the guessing that goes into that. You know?
And just think about how many stakeholders you have to keep happy. First of all, your direct customer, US Transcom.
Yeah.
Obviously, the service members who are ultimately and directly impacted by all these changes happening in the industry. Of course, the moving companies that you want to sign on because they are your capacity.
Yep.
The technology piece, the money, so lots of moving pieces, no pun intended.
And in fairness, historically, none of these constituencies have been happy at the same time in the known history of the universe. Right. So it doesn't, you know, it's not all on them. Jimmy, any other questions? Throw them in there. Sylvia says hi from the EDC team, Miami.
Oh. Well, hello, Miami. Hello, Sylvia.
Sylvia checking in. This is great. Louise from Ecuador.
Hello, Louise.
Global nature of this community.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
That's why we like IAM.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
why
we
unlike any conference that I go to.
Correct. I mean, incredible. How many conferences do you go to where you have a 5 o'clock bar?
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock sometime, all the time.
So here if you were here, you would know that
there's a glass of wine. I think I might see my first alcoholic beverage there passing by.
Yeah, so fantastic. It's a very fun convention.
Well, you know what else it is about this too, is I explained to people from other, you know, aspects of global mobility and relocation. What I love also about this community is that as you walk around, you know, if people are just with the cards, they're just so quick to hand out a card, take a card. Everybody networks with everybody. We're all one interconnected ecosystem of origin, destination agents with technology in between. And we all can work with each other in some facet.
Correct.
It's unlike anything I've ever seen.
Yes, but ultimately, when you question or when you wonder what is the role of the technology in all of this, the way we see it is we're just the conduit. Okay. So that's why we go where the customers are. And I think we must have done something right, because through logistics, right now, we have handled over 5 million moves. 5 million moves? 5 million moves.
In how many years?
Gosh, 12, 13?
12, 13.
Something like that.
Wow.
21 billion with a B pounds. So those are some of the stats. And we don't have to thank anybody other than our customers. And then, of course, for us to pat ourselves on the back for just being there, being present, which is really what it's all about, and listening. Because if we had just asked our customer, what do you need? I said, what do you mean, what do I need? I'm just walking from my computer to the fax machine.
I need the fax machine to be closer to my desk, people.
So sometimes you, as an innovator, have to be able to forecast a little bit, right? And look ahead and see where the need is and see how we can address it. That's really the role of technology.
I love that perspective. And it means in the beginning, you're crazy because you're the only person talking about these things. I think it was like Henry Ford or something that said, you know, if I would ask customers what they need, they said they would have needed a faster horse or a faster buggy, right? And nobody would have ever dreamt up the car.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Really, really interesting stuff. Get in the comments. I want to hear from you. We're talking technology. We're talking innovation. We're talking data and the ability to share data seamlessly here with EDC. And Diana here, Ksenia, somebody hire me. Yes, somebody hire Ksenia, for goodness sakes. Ryan, feel free to reach out about questions on GHC. Ryan.Green at HomeSafeAlliance.com.
Hi, Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
What's up, Ryan? Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, we know Ryan. Where are you, Ryan?
Where are you, Ryan?
Yes.
Where are you? No, this is funny. We're having a good time. You know, when I was talking, I was asking you a little bit about, you know, how you overcome the resistance to change in our industry. You know, we love this industry, you know, and we're all a little stuck in our ways, right? It's there's enough operational challenges sometimes, you know, without introducing and disrupting ourselves, but yet it has to be done because of the future proofing of our industry relies on it. And one thing that I've noticed, especially about EDC, is the word of mouth is really tremendous.
Yes.
You know, people really share their success stories with EDC, and I think that helps to build trust. I mean, that's really kind of the theme at this year's IAM conference, is about trust.
Correct.
And tell me a little bit about how you developed that word of mouth in the community.
Well, it's all about partnerships. As you know, we are not a big company. You know, we're not supported by investors. That's what I mean by that. You know, it's all homegrown. We actually started in the basement of our home.
Wow.
Right. Rich and I, over
like every great
25
technology company.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Like
yes.
Microsoft, like Apple.
It wasn't the garage. It was the basement.
Yes, it wasn't the garage. The garage was taken.
Yes.
We already had cars, but still, nonetheless.
Yes.
Same principle.
So it started in the basement of our home, and we really grew it because we had great partners in the industry. Okay. I mean, you know the story. Yeah. We ran into Chuck Bailey, Cornerstone, right? At one of the local Chamber of Commerce events. So again, it's about being present, right? And about listening. So with a lot of great friends in the industry, that's how we grew the company, particularly this industry. I mean, we serve other industries. I know not a lot of customers know that. We also provide services to construction and healthcare. Wow. And we're about to launch other products in other vertical markets.
Where data privacy is also really important. I mean, the healthcare industry, right, with HIPAA regulations and everything.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned Chuck Bailey.
Yeah.
And I mean, what a great example. I mean, now look at Chuck. I mean, Chuck, they're also, top-notch sponsors here as well, Cornerstone Moving, and you've known, him and his family for quite a while. What's it like to be able to grow with these people and these companies?
Well, it's you get to share in their success, and then they get to share in yours, and that's really goes back to those partnerships. So we understand the growing pains they go through, right? We understand that at the core of it is a trust. You have to establish partnerships with your agents. You have to establish partnerships with your software vendors, right? Why? Because not if something happens, because something always happens. Something will go wrong at some point. But when something goes wrong, you know that you want to be able to pick up the phone and call Diana and go, hey, what just happened here? So, I mean, we're thankful in that we have a great team. We're about 70 people now.
Wow.
Yeah, 70.
That's
a lot of people.
That's a big, well, not a big company, but that's bigger. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, so we have a lot of great people, but ultimately, my customers have my cell phone number. Okay, so they know that if something truly goes wrong, they can call me, as they have. I remember about a week and a half ago, I walked into the office, the home office. I went into the office, okay, just having my second cup of coffee of the day. And then I get a phone call. It was like 7:45, from this particular customer that had a urgent problem on a Monday morning. Okay. They knew that they would be able to get through to me. So that's the relationship that we want to maintain with our customers as we continue to grow.
Wow.
And as we continue to develop partnerships in this industry and other industries as well.
Shall we just put Diana's cell phone number up there on the screen here?
Absolutely.
Let's just put that.
It's in my signature. It's in my email signature. So why not?
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is phenomenal. Let me ask you, we're getting started. This is day one. We've really hit the ground running here. What are you looking forward to most? Well,
I always like to see our customers, okay? Even if they just come by the booth to say hello, or maybe share an update, right? But it's also a lot of being there to see where changes taking the industry, right? Because there are changes going on in the industry. So,
what do you think the big disruptors are that we need to kind of keep our eyes open for? Let's say besides GHC. I mean, that's the elephant in the room, right? And all that. But what kind of macro trends are going on that we need to be aware of that might be influencing kind of products you develop and things that you're keeping your customers up at night?
Well, a lot of that has had to do with the way the world itself has changed, right, in the last several years, right? And I think to a certain extent, technology has even become even more critical than it used to be. And again, we don't see it as technology for technology's sake, but technology being there to solve issues and to address problems. Now, of course, the buzzword of the day is, come on, Ben.
I mean,
AI, right?
Okay. I was thinking that's a shorter acronym. I was thinking GHC. I was still on GHC.
AI. You're still stuck on GHC.
I know.
It's AI. So
AI.
That's the buzzword. Everybody wants AI. So,
how do you put AI in the moving systems?
Well, we already got it.
Oh.
Yes, and not just us.
What does it do in there?
it makes your life easier if you implement it right.
Is it like for chat features, or is it doing something else? Like, what does it do?
So I'm not going to discuss what we're about to release.
Oh no.
Okay.
That's when it's getting good. That's what always, as an interviewer, that's when you know when they start no commenting you, that's when you know you're on the right track.
Right. Yeah. So no comment.
All right. All right.
No comment. But you know, technology, AI included, right? If implemented right, can address a lot of issues. Okay. Yeah. And I'm gonna leave it as that until we're ready to say more.
Dun dun dun. To be continued. Cliffhanger.
Yes.
This is awesome. This has been Diana Corona here from EDC. We are just getting started though. Awesome. This is great. This is a live studio. This studio, we got people coming over here, active saboteurs. This is fantastic. Just debauchery everywhere around here. Diana, thank you so much. We've actually got Derek Duffy coming up next. So I'm going to say goodbye.
Yes.
But I'll catch you at the bar. So good to see you. Oh, great to see you. EDC, Diana, look at this. Oh, the next person we have coming up here is actually so famous that people are taking pictures with him. It's actually Derek Duffy. Hey, Derek, how you doing? From Armstrong. How's it going?
Thanks.
It's so good to have you here, man. We got to get this real close to you, okay?
Yeah, good. We're all good.
There you go. You're so tall. You're actually taller than me. This is nice.
Yeah, good.
It's refreshing. Derek, we are here in Toronto. How does it feel to have IAM on Canadian soil?
You know, it's pretty cool, man. Thanks for having me here, by the way. Second time outside of the U.S.
Yes, I was in Vancouver.
Vancouver was I think Vancouver did a really good job. I'm really biased, but I think Vancouver did a really good job. But I was really worried about, Vancouver's got the water, the mountains.
It's beautiful.
And they've got everything going on. It's such a cosmopolitan city. I was thinking, if we're coming to Toronto, it's kind of like a concrete jungle. It's inner city. And I was thinking, like, what's the vibe going to be? But I have to say, early signs are that
we lost the camera and the audio accordingly. There we go. We got camera. We're back. There we go. Is our audio live?
Anyway.
Is our audio live, Adam? All right, good.
So like I was saying, Vancouver was such a strong event. I really felt like we were trying to live up to our big brother or big sister. So I think the early signs from the partners that we're talking to is that it's been really well received. I think we're on track. I think the people are enjoying themselves. It's a really international city. I grew up here. I'm proud of Toronto. I'm a big Toronto sports fan. I'm a big Canadian guy. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and Canada's home for me.
What do people need to see when they're here in Toronto, Derek?
They need to see Armstrong moving, 630 Secretariat Court, Mississauga, L5S285. No, I'm just kidding. No, there's so much to see. Honestly, there's a couple of hidden gems that I would say that I would put out there. Get across to see the Toronto Islands. I'm not sure in your free visits, if you came over, I
saw them from the CN. Is that is there an airport there?
There's a little Billy Bishop Airport over there. So you take a 15-minute ferry ride across, and it's like stepping out into the countryside. And the most impactful part of the whole visit for me is the ferry ride back into the city. You've got this incredible skyline, and you're coming into kind of Canada's largest city, fourth largest city in North America, just saying.
Fourth, okay,
and it's deceiving. Like, I think people think, so it's LA, New York, Chicago.
Mexico City?
Toronto.
Are we counting Mexico City?
No, between Canada and the U.S. Yeah, they're number one, right?
Okay.
Yeah, they're so big they don't even count. They're like another stratosphere.
No.
We've excluded them. But cool. Between Canada and the U.S., it's the fourth largest.
Okay.
And anyway, so I think it's people don't necessarily recognize that.
Yeah.
But take a little trip out to the islands and come back and see the ferry and appreciate the skyline from the water. Really, really catches your breath.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I am so thrilled to be here, and we had the opportunity to be on a panel discussion together.
Let's go.
And you are moderating, which is great, because now I get to sit back and I got the easy job. I get these softball questions teed up to me all night.
Hey, softball. Hey, whoa. I gotta put some spice on it for you, buddy. Don't sit back too easy.
Throw me an underhand curve. Throw me a little underhand curve.
Don't get too comfortable.
What are we gonna be talking about, Derek?
Well, we've got this whole thing about, now it's a little bit of a wash, rinse, repeat from my perspective.
Okay.
A lot of conferencing is doing retention and recruitment. And it's a little bit of kind of a wash, rinse, repeat. I think we should take it to the next level.
Okay.
I do not think that we should take the path of least resistance. And yes, the younger people want technology. Like, of course they do. But what else do they really want? So I think we're going to dig into recruiting. It's in our space now. And looking at this next generation coming in, I think we need to look at it with a different lens. Also, not overlooking what's important and what was always important. Everyone talks about change. Everything doesn't have to change. There is change here. But there are still some fundamentals that I don't think should be overlooked.
What are those elements that probably need to stay the same?
Well, I think that without giving, too much of a sort of a sneak peek into our session, it's just what's always tried and true with people is treating people well. And whether you're recruiting or retaining people, if you treat people with respect, I think that's underestimated. And I think it's almost overlooked. We talk about throwing technology at them. They want to work from home. We want flex time.
Valued now. I mean,
right?
I think people expect to be respected in the workplace on a level that maybe they didn't even. I think 30, 40 years ago, you knew work was going to suck a little bit, and that's why they paid you to be there.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, I'm not going to show up if you're going to talk to me like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and I'm like, well, okay, how do I put it then?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm also afraid to talk to my employees, by the way. I'm afraid to talk to them.
Yeah, that's why we hire people that are smarter than us.
So anyway, there's just a lot of things changing in our workplace. And I think that sometimes the fundamentals shouldn't be overlooked. And I think what I'd like to get into on the panel for a portion of the discussion is not overlooking the fundamentals and kind of going back to basics a little bit, because there's some fundamentals there that should not be overlooked and almost emphasized, if you will.
Yeah, the thing that I like about our take on this, on the talent shortage and why they come and why they go, why they come and why they go.
Yeah.
How do they come?
Yeah.
Is there a cheat sheet?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's gonna be great. No, but the thing I like about it is, since I came in this industry, it's all been about the driver shortage.
Yeah, true.
Right, and the lumper shortage, and this is really, to me, more about the professional side of the industry and how we get the professional talent in that's going to really drive our business forward and lead us into the next generation.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think hopefully it's well attended. We got a great panel. You're on it. You're always a big draw man, so you're drawing in for
something. I'll tell you what. We'll see what it is.
You're a draw. You're a draw.
It's either good or bad. The gravitational pull.
Yeah.
This is great. We got people checking in here. Harsha Relocations, what's up? Get in the comments. Hit that like button. I want to know who you are, where you are. We got Mark Sutherland just passing by here. Get in the comments, Mark. Mark's over here drinking his coffee. Yeah, too much coffee. Ksenia checking in. What's up there? This is awesome. I want to know from a Canadian perspective, how's the moving industry this year?
Yeah, so I think this, when you talk about the Canadian, we'll talk about the international airspace because we're here at the International Association of Movers.
Yep.
So the international space is interesting. There's a couple of different things that are happening in the Canadian market. You've got, in the last couple of years, you've got the socio-political problems around the world usually is a win for Canada because
why is that?
We're a safe place. We have great healthcare.
Yep.
We are one of the top 10. We're always on the top 10 cities to live in the world. Canada has 3 cities on it each and every time. Wow. We have Vancouver, Calgary, and Toronto. They're on there always with Zurich and some of the Scandinavian countries. Vienna is always a big one. But we're a very safe place to live. So anytime there's disruption in the world, we find there's a bit of a lift in terms of our net imports into Canada.
People start looking at Canada like, that sounds like a good option.
Right. The only problem is like it's expensive here. Taxes, top tax bracket 53.53%. Cost of housing, average price of a house in Canada is $1 million Canadian. I know it's funny money to you Americans, but it's still $750,000 for a starter home in this country. So it's expensive. It's an expensive place. But that being said, we've had a pretty good year. I think a lot of people had a hangover, if you will, from 2022, and Q1 was very, very strong for a lot of companies. Yep. And then they come into the summer period and everyone's kind of drinking from the fire hose. Lots going on.
Yep.
Q4 is a real correction in our space.
Yep.
There's no way people are going to be able to mirror the numbers they had in 2022. They're going to have in 2023. September, October, November, December last year for our company in particular was lights out. And there's no way we're going to hit those numbers again this year. So there's a correction coming, softness coming. It's all good.
What are you hearing as far as like relative to 2022? What kind of volume, are you hearing right now?
I mean, we're active in the RMC space and everything is 20 to 30% down. So
that's kind of what we're hearing too, consensus here.
Yeah.
So it's very much the same north of the border as it is south of the border here.
Well, the US sneezes and Canada catches a cold, right? So we are linked.
We are sorry. We're sorry.
Whether we like it or not, we are brothers in arms, and we love our dear friends to the south, and our economies are very, very much linked. That's reality.
It's interesting because I heard a expert on globalism, Dr. Parag Khanna, who really specializes in kind of where people are moving and why they're moving there, and the political reasons and the economic reasons and the climate reasons and all sorts of stuff, right? And he was very big on Canada.
Okay.
very big on Canada for a lot of reasons. And actually made a point that Canada has usurped the U.S. as the #1 desired destination for immigrants, which is, we know, is kind of the pipeline, the talent pipeline for a lot of our, industries like technology and all this stuff, right? But now recently, we're hearing that there may be some restrictions and stuff around some of that immigration. Do you feel like Canada is still kind of is that place is still that #1 destination? Do you foresee that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm a product. I'm a second generation Canadian. My parents immigrated from Ireland in the early 70s. Went back and forth a few times. So while most of the immigration today is from, let's call it China and India, it's no surprise. Look around, look at the color of our city. Very proud of them. They're very hardworking and very welcome in our city. They add value to our economy. But I think that, also keep in mind that, in Toronto alone, where we are today, more than 50% of our population is born outside of Canada.
Wow.
So we are a net immigrant.
Over 50% of Toronto
is born outside of
Canada.
Yeah.
Wow. So
that's a stat.
A real city of immigrants and
I often say
reminds me of New York.
That's
where
where
I grew up.
Totally. So you stand at in the major intersection in New York, call it Times Square.
Sure.
And the chance of you hearing English versus a foreign language, right? It's I don't know. I mean,
it's 50-50.
Correct.
So
sure. If you stand in downtown Toronto, we'll call it Yonge and Dundas Square, our Times Square equivalent, and I can tell you that you're more likely to hear Hindi or Cantonese or Mandarin than you are to even hear French, which is our second language. So it's a very, very cosmopolitan, very, very international city. So I don't see that changing. Yeah. Because once you have such a country that welcomes people in, and when they welcome in, I've talked to a few people already here this morning, Ben, and they're saying, we've never been to Canada. You know what it's like? It's exactly like the US, except well, I don't want to go there.
No, go for it.
I don't want to, cause any. I don't want to cause any too much trouble.
We know how you feel about it.
It's just they're just a bit more welcoming to the visible minorities. So I think
that's a nice caveat. I see that.
So I think that they're saying that it's got all of this sort of advantages of a Western developed world. But in terms of the welcomeness into the city, they're not immediately fighting sort of, let's say, discrimination on day one because of our international that's just hearsay, and that's
but opinions are valid, right? I mean, because perception is reality, and I think that from an immigration standpoint, we've not done ourselves any. The Canadians, they kiss a lot. I've noticed that. But no, we've not done ourselves a lot of favors, south of the border. Just even though policies may or may not have changed, the perception in the globe is that we're not as welcoming. Whereas Canada kind of went out and put these proverbial billboards out saying, "Hey, we're open for business. Come on over, come be here."
One thing we don't see is it's not a competition between Canada and the U.S. because regardless of what makes up our demographics, regardless of what our policies are socially or politically, at the end of the day, the bond that Canada and the U.S. have is extremely strong. We're each other's largest trade partners. We share the largest undefended border in the world. And for that, we will forever be brothers in arms. If there's ever a problem between our two countries, man, we are serious shit to deal with.
Yeah, we are. No, it's fine. French is second language here. This is great. So tell people out there who may not be familiar with Armstrong International Movers, tell us a little bit about your company.
So I think it's interesting, but some interesting stats. I think people maybe know us. 70% of our volume doesn't touch Canada. So we're very much I didn't know that. We're very much a move management company. We fly the United Van Lines flag on our domestic side.
Okay.
We are the largest single member of United Van Lines in Canada. Wow. I'm currently on the FIDI board. I'm FIDI board president. I'm FIDI president right now at the moment. So,
Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to say a little.
Sorry, I didn't mean to kiss the ring. I didn't see the ring.
A little genuflect would be nice. Thank you. A little curtsy. Nice. A little curtsy. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, brother. But we have some international service centers. People might not know. We have a small little service center in Japan. We have a small service center in Kazakhstan. We have a small little service center in Costa Rica.
Wow.
And then we have our branches across Canada. But look, we like everyone, the one man, one truck, one dream. Yes, that happened. But so the Armstrong family now has just been officially sort of bought out. So my partner and I, Rod Spears, we've purchased the company fully. So there's no other shares except for between us.
Wow.
So that's kind of a monumental. But we're on a good run. We call it our golden era. We've had a really good run in Canada. We're very proud of the sponsors, or sort of the support we've received from the industry in general. And we're having fun. And that counts for something.
Yeah. Well, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Because we could be doing anything, and there's a reason we show up to these conferences and we get so involved as you have and as I have. It's because we really genuinely love the people in this business.
That's true.
Let me understand a little bit about the makeup of the company as far as what is your business mix? Is it mostly corporate? Is it COD? Is it military, government?
Yeah, so military government's not really on our radar.
Okay.
We do quite a bit of RMC business.
Yep.
Corporate business, and we have a private consumer business. We have a fine art company. That's quite interesting for us. In fact, I'm leaving on Thursday. I'm going to miss the last night here in Toronto.
How long have you been in the fine art business?
We've been there about 10 years now. So
that's
yeah. So we have the ISAFAT conference, which is in Amsterdam. So I'll fly out there on Thursday. That's a kind of interesting part of it. So we have a scientific company where we move labs and lab samples. We have the only fleet in Canada that can actually plug in a -60-degree freezer with the scientists' research, like the petri dishes from your high school.
The specimens.
The specimens.
I used to steal the petri dishes.
Exactly.
Well, I used to steal the jars of like bats and stuff. Like
so that kind of stuff. It's weird stuff that we get into. But that's our scientific division, very small niche division. It's not like nothing to the scale of moving. Moving is our cash cow. We have a couple of other interesting things around it. We have a general warehousing company. We have a fine art company. We have a scientific company. But the the big thing in our company, I won't know the numbers off my top of my head, but we're a corporate mover.
You know, as we've seen household goods markets kind of soften and become volatile, you know, I see a lot of folks talking about how they diversify their businesses. You know, what advice would you give to movers out there about the best way to diversify and future-proof their business?
Yeah, interesting comment. I think I would say look at the markets where you feel there's a gap in your space, because there's lots of saturation in industries. And I think that you have to find that spot. For instance, we got into fine art. There's really only one player in Canada. So for us, it was a kind of an easy sort of say, well, there's room for another player here. And I think that people sometimes get into spaces that are completely saturated. And on day one, you're in the battle to be the cheapest.
You're in a price war.
On day one,
right off the bat.
On day one. So try to pick those spaces that have a little bit less competition. Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch for you. Maybe it's a leap of faith that you're not comfortable doing. But you'd be better off to take that leap of faith where you're a little bit uncomfortable without having that price competition on day one, where you're battling to the race to zero on day one.
Yeah, this is interesting here. Very good, very good. Let's see here. My most demanding client was from Canada, by the way, Cindy said, but he told me that he was more than satisfied with the service provided by me. Very good. Greetings from Argentina. What's going on, Argentina? From Francisca. There you go. Very cool. All right, awesome. Derek, I got to ask you, what are you looking forward to most, besides obviously sharing the stage with me for the second time 100%. This week? What are you looking forward to most?
We're getting together with a few of our partners on Wednesday night, and
a little shindig,
little shindig, and it's at the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Woo, that's nice.
You know, hockey's near to me. Our booth just over here. I think you may have seen a few pucks flying over.
But I think one hit me over here.
Sorry.
Jeez, we got pucks, errant pucks flying.
I'll take that back. But anyways, I'm looking forward to our friends gathering here. It's one of those things, you know, hosting people in your town. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. Not something I want to do every year.
Yeah.
Not what I do.
Well, we won't be back soon.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Don't worry. We threw you a bone. Every 10 years we come up there.
Those Canadians are annoying. Let's get rid of them. So anyways, in fairness, it's wonderful to have everybody here. Thank you, Ben, for hosting me and getting my word out here. But
it's tremendous.
Welcome to Toronto, everyone. And for those that are going to be here for a few days, enjoy it. The city has a lot to offer. Relax, have fun, smile, and keep fighting.
I love it. And everybody's passing by here. They're waving at us. It's hard to stay focused. There's so much love and energy in the room right now. It's phenomenal, everybody. We got one more guest coming up here. Derek Duffy,
Thanks, buddy.
Armstrong International.
See you Wednesday.
Thanks so much. See you Wednesday. All right. Very good. We got our last guest coming up here today. Very cool. Come on up here.
Right.
Look at this. What's going on? Sid, get in here. Sid, there you go. Cool. Get in that mic. Get in that mic, buddy. Get in there, Sid.
Adam told me not to be too buddy with you.
Don't be too buddy with me. Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
We hate each other.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Sid from Yembo, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, guys?
I'm phenomenal. This is great. This is better than the first time when we met.
Yep. You remember that?
It was funny because I stopped by your booth earlier. And you refreshed my memory. The year was 2017, and I had torn my Achilles, and I was in like one of those walking boot dealios, right? And so, yeah, it was tough, you know, it was tough. But you guys gave me respite. You gave me a couch to sit on, and I'll be forever grateful to the Yembo folks.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I didn't know who you were. You're just walking around.
That's what I was.
I don't know. Did you have a scooter then? And
I think I might have had a little one of those little knee scooter things over there. Yeah, for sure. I promise it's not a Heineken. It's just the way they put water in cups over here. Oh, it is a Heineken. Actually, no, just kidding. So Sid, what's new at Yembo, man? Yembo, like everybody's talking about Yembo these days. What's new?
A lots new, and we launched 2 new products at IAM this year.
Wow.
Our very first product was our self-survey product guided by AI.
Yeah.
You could send the shipper a link and they could take the video at 10 p.m. at night.
And that's the one I think most people are probably most familiar with Yembo, right? Is that amazing? And the user interface on that is just incredible. Like I just remember the first time I saw this thing, you know, and then you see it calculating and like what percentage that's actually a refrigerator and what percentage that's a chair, you know, and like you're just like, this is like the future. It blew my mind the first time I saw it.
So we have a philosophy in the company is to make everything grandparent simple. Should be so easy that your grandma or grandpa can use it. So
well, they're dead now, so that'd be pretty simple. A lot of AI involved there. I'm just kidding, Sid. I'm just kidding here. No, but that's great though. I love it. You got to make it simple because moving customers are all different types of people.
I know, and they're all different types of people, and moving's a stressful time. Any little bit that you can do to make that process easier is a win. Right. So that was our very first product.
Wow.
Since then, we've launched our Smart Consult product, which is a guided survey assisted by AI.
Oh,
which is
tell me about that.
A move coordinator can walk a customer through their home. As a customer is walking through their home, the AI is watching the video in the background and keeps out the move for you. It helps movers get their surveys done 3 times faster or more.
So this is like augmented. It's like AI augmented service. So it's kind of a blend. It's not 100% self-service. You still have that human hand holding.
Correct.
Right? Because you don't want to hold hands with a computer. So you got the human hand holding.
Yeah.
But then they're being assisted by the AI.
They are being assisted by the AI. So,
I love that.
So that's the second product that we launched.
How has that been received?
So right now, half of our survey volume every year going through the Smart Consult. The other half going through the DIY self-survey product.
What do you think is the biggest driver in choice between those two services?
Honestly,
what makes people decide they want one or the other?
Honestly, it's really agent customer dependent. So we have customers, again, doing surveys in thousands of surveys. 90% of their volume is self-surveys, right? We also have other customers, 90% of their volume is going through this guided Smart Consult. It's really based on we customize it to what our customers want. Right? So if they want to do self-surveys, we have a solution for that. If they want to do guided surveys, we have a solution for that. We also launched an on-site product to complete the survey suite.
Okay, tell me about it.
Because our customers were like, Sid, it's great. Now you have virtual survey solution, but sometimes people still want to go on-site. And then what am I supposed to do? Right?
Okay.
So we were like, we are a virtual survey company, but we understand that despite COVID and everything, not everyone's going to want to do a virtual survey. So we also launched an on-site survey product.
Right.
And that also is guided by AI. So as the sales agent or a move coordinator, when you're going on site, just go take photos, right, of your home.
Oh my gosh, I love this idea. I love this idea. So I was a vice president of sales at a moving company, okay? And sometimes they'd send me out to the home. I think they were just screwing with me, to be honest with you. So they'd send me out to the home to do a survey. And it was always like a decent size house, but it would take me 2 hours to do the survey. Because I'm always over there and I'm like shaking hands. I'm making conversation. I'm trying to like give them this experience, but really I'm just taking a really long time to do it. And I'm trying to like be funny and charming, but I'm like trying to like find the button for all this stuff and write the notes in and like.
And you're trying to make up jokes on as you are going through the process.
You're trying to make a joke while you're trying to find a button, and it's just, it was awful.
Yeah. So here's how it would work with Yembo,
Tell
right?
me.
So you take your tablet, smartphone, and you just go snap, snap, snap. That's it, right? So you focus on your sales. The AI does the rest.
How much faster is that than the traditional old way of going in the home and counting furniture?
Honestly, it depends on how chatty you are at the home.
Very chatty.
Yeah. So if you want to get it, if optimizing for time is really important because you want to get like 4 or 5 appointments done in a day, then you can do it in about a fifth of the time, right? The same
fifth of the time.
Yeah, 20%.
Well, hit that like button. Get in the comments if you've got questions for Sid about Yembo or about the IAM conference. I want to hear from you. I want to hear you check in there. This is great. Look at this. David Yakum. I used to work with David. He says you can take pictures with the Smart Move console. I use Yembo daily.
Thank you, Dave.
David, how do you like it? Be honest out here. Nervous?
Good.
No, he loves it. He loves it. This is great. Get in the comments. I want to know if you've used Yembo. I want to know what you think about it. Eduardo checking in. Eduardo Teixeira from Portugal. What's up, Eduardo? Good to see you out there. I think the Euro conference is going to be in Porto next year. Annie Ream from Glomo HQ. What's up, Annie Ream? Hold down the fort there back in Dallas. I don't even know what time it is back in Dallas. Too much math here. Let's see. Mauricio. Greetings from Transpac, Argentina. Buenos Aires. How many of your customers are in the U.S. versus outside the U.S.?
About 80% of our customers are in the U.S. The remaining 20%, the remaining 20% are outside the U.S. We have customers in Europe.
Okay.
We have customers in South America. We also have customers in Asia and Australia.
Are the challenges different outside the U.S. or is it more just an adoption and marketing issue?
So honestly, we don't see a difference in usage or adoption. I would say like language is a big barrier, especially with European countries. So we made Yembo work in 16 different languages.
Oh, wow.
So, and it's automatic. You don't have to say, oh, it's a German shipper. So let's select German as the language. It automatically figures out what the
you look like you speak German.
It figures out the language settings in your phone, and the UI renders in the language that the phone setting is.
Okay, besides English, what is the second most used language in the Yembo software?
It's Spanish, I would
Spanish.
think. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
And honestly, a lot of Spanish usage is coming from the US as well, right? Because there's a lot of Spanish-speaking shippers that are moving in the US.
I didn't even think about that. It doesn't necessarily have to be that the move coordinator or the estimator is a Spanish speaker, but really you can cater to the language of whatever the shipper is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, that's really fascinating. I got to ask you, when you're programming the AI, and I just love the visual of it. It's like the little outline and it's colorful, and it's like, is it a fridge? Is it a couch? Is it a chair? You know, and I love it, and it does the little math and whatnot on it. What was the hardest part of coding that all? Really curious.
God. It is. I think I've not written code in 4 years, right? So now I have a big team. So
yeah.
Back in
but I'm
the
sure
day,
they complain to you. I'm sure like, Sid, we can't do this. You're like, do it.
Back in the day when you came and sat down in our chair, I was the main AI engineer working on it, right?
Oh, wow.
So the hardest part was really like putting everything together, really like from collecting the data to annotating it, like making sure that a nightstand is a different like cube than a side table, right? Or an end table, like making sure the AI distinguishes between those two very nuanced concepts.
Because it might be like 2.5 cube versus 3 cube or something like that.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So you have to be very, very precise as to how you're teaching the AI to recognize and understand those concepts. And that's why we do everything in-house, right? We don't outsource our AI to Amazon or Google because they're just very generic and they don't give you the accuracy that you need to really serve this industry. So we built everything in-house. So like doing all of that together was a learning process for me. So and that was also exciting at the same time.
Why did you decide to come in and kind of, I'll use the word disrupt, right? Why not? You know, disrupt the way the moving industry had been done, you know, for gosh, I mean, if we're counting cube sheets from back in the day, like physical paper for, you know, almost 100 years, you know, why was that? Why did you choose the moving industry?
That's a great question. If you'd asked me a few years ago, I would have been like, me in the moving industry, what are you talking about? So it turns out I was working at Qualcomm
Okay.
as an R&D engineer, and I was
Okay.
working on AI for self-driving cars.
Okay.
And my co-founder and CTO, Zach, who's the best software engineer I worked with, sent me a text message saying we should do AI for moving. And I looked at it and it's like, this is the worst idea. Why would anyone want to do this?
It's like,
right?
Zach, are you drunk?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
Turns out his wife was a move coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
and she couldn't.
Oh, she was.
She was, and she couldn't find people to send on site to write an estimate. It was peak season.
Yes.
It was Memorial Day 2015. I like very.
Oh, Memorial
vividly,
Day. I mean, people are losing their minds.
So
at that point, any idea is a good idea. Memorial Day of peak season.
So that's when I really realized that for the last 2 years at that point, I was really focused on building AI for self-driving cars. And I knew we couldn't really ship self-driving cars out to the market for 10, 20 years because a car makes a mistake, someone dies.
Yeah.
Right. So, but on the other hand, here, there's like a capacity issue, especially in the peak season. If we can save time for the move coordinators, for the sales agent, it really makes their lives easier. Right. So, and we didn't need to be 100% accurate on day one to really impact that change and make their lives easier. So what if a king bed gets detected as a queen bed, right? You can go easily.
Sure.
You can easily go correct it.
Yes. It's not like running into a tree.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up in the moving industry, and I've learned a lot. And really hardworking folks, and really every week. I mean, like working 16, 17 hours during peak season, it's not easy.
When you come in from outside of industry, because I came from outside of the traditional household goods industry, I'd worked at containerized companies for a while, right? And we were considered outsiders to this industry. And you come in and you think you know what it is. And then you get in it and you find out you don't actually know what you don't know. And what was the biggest surprise kind of for you coming in? Maybe when you thought, oh, I got this. This is going to be easy. Or, oh, I understand this. What was the biggest surprise kind of for you, or one of them?
Honestly, it's like the analog nature of everything, right? Like
that's all opportunity, right?
That's all, but it's also a challenge because people are set in their ways, right? It's like how do you teach old dogs new tricks, right? So and that's been like the biggest, I would say, thing that I thought would be easy, but it's actually pretty challenging, right? Like because people are used to doing a certain thing a certain way for like 10, 15 years. And now you're coming with technology and you're like, hey, do this. And they're like, why? Right. So, so that's been, I would say, like a very important learning process for us. And the way we handle it is we have like a very bespoke onboarding process for our customers. We do one-on-one individual trainings. We really make sure that the people who are using the software are feeling comfortable, and they have someone to talk to if they get stuck. So, and that's how we found majority of our success.
So you've kind of come in and really interjected AI into the sales and estimating process for moving companies. What's the next problem that we need to solve as a moving industry?
I think I feel like claims. Claims is a big problem. So
tell me about it.
It's like a money suck, right? It just takes you're just losing money. And if you can tell using AI that a shipment, what's the probability of a claim happening? If you can collect all the data, who's moving the shipment, what time, and
so predictive claims kind of stuff. Oh wow. You think we can get there?
Yeah, we certainly think so. So, and we've certainly put ourselves in the roadmap to helping us get there. And the important part is all of this starts from the survey process, right? The survey is really, really important. That's the very first time you're getting an inventory of the customer's household goods, and a claim is either on a property or on your item. So if you can, at survey time, really help track the entire shipment from end to end and learn from it, and then I think we could solve the claims process.
How do you see that information being deployed? How do you see us using that?
So I would say it's sort of like Minority Report, if you've seen that movie.
Yeah.
So
who's going to commit a crime next?
Yeah. Well, what if you could tell at survey time, are you buying a claim? right? And if we could tell you, hey Ben, the shipment, notice there's a table there, it looks damaged, you may want to take extra protection for that, right?
Yeah.
So what would you do with that information? So
I would upsell. I would upsell, additional insurance coverage level, or a rider on a specific piece at the point of sale at the time.
exactly, right? So if you had that data, you would take targeted business decision that would help help both your top line and your bottom line.
Now, how do we get a large enough data set to be accurate and predictive?
Yeah, so we are already doing hundreds of thousands of surveys every year,
Wow.
right? So we just need to connect the loop. What happened during claims time back into the survey time?
So you got to get the claims data now.
Correct.
For you have the front end data.
We need
the
back-end
size
data.
of the move.
Correct.
And all that kind of stuff. You need the back of the move. Wow,
Yeah.
super interesting.
Yeah, and the second product we just launched, it's not claims related, but I think like to complete this entire survey suite, our customers have been telling us peak season, hey, like I really love Yembo, but I have a shortage of staff here to complete the surveys. Can you do it for us?
Mm-hmm.
So at IAM, we just launched our managed survey product where if you didn't want to do your survey yourself, you can press a button and I can outsource the entire survey for you.
Oh, sure.
And, yeah. So super excited about launching that after, I would say 5 years. People have been requesting it for a really long time, and but finally excited to deliver.
I find this really interesting and honestly kind of encouraging, as we all try to grapple with the future of AI and what it means to us as individuals, as humans, and the thought that we will become dispensable and not necessary, right, to the process. But now to watch the evolution of your product, it actually has evolved kind of full circle to where the human kind of comes back into it, and it shows like the AI and the human are working together.
They are really working together, and at Yembo we have a philosophy that AI is not there to replace humans. It's to give them superpowers so they can do their jobs easier.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel like I think there is going to be some amount of disruption, but the disruption is going to be focused on folks who don't adopt new technology, right? So AI may not replace humans, but it may replace people that don't adopt technology. And certainly we are here to make sure that we are able to provide the best technology in the hands of people so they can do their jobs much efficiently and easier.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Sid from Yembo. This has been great, Sid.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben.
So great having you here. The energy is great here in the conference hall. It's wonderful talking to you. And thanks for the hospitality so many years ago. My ankle's doing great now. I'm getting around.
Glad to hear.
Can't wait to see what Yembo comes up with next.
All right. Yeah.
Fantastic. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Sid.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks so much. All right.
Bye now.
Have a good one. And I've got actually a request from the audience here. Simon Hood wants a wave. I'll give you more than a wave. Can I get Simon here real quick? Let's see here. Come on up here, Simon. Get on up here, you tall drink of water. All right, let's see here. Come on up, buddy. How you doing, man?
How you doing? Yeah, I'm okay.
How you doing, bud?
Superstar.
Good to see you.
Simon
Simon Hood here from John Mason
I
International.
was just saying, is your ego getting any bigger?
You can't
the longer-
possibly.
The longer these shows go on.
No, it couldn't possibly get any bigger. It's good to see you.
You too.
I'm just blessed to be here, honestly. The fact that I get a chance to do this and that IAM sees enough value in what we do and that the sponsors see enough value to have us come out here and set up this really cool set. It's really a blessing. I remember coming to the IAM conference, probably 13 years ago, and being an absolute nobody, not knowing anybody. Everybody knew everybody, and I didn't know anybody. And now to be here and get to talk to people like you and all these other amazing luminaries in our industry is pretty cool.
I think people watching this won't be able to see the setup here that Ben's got, but it's like a newsroom. It's literally like I've walked into.
It's like a newsroom without news.
NBC. It's literally like that.
BBC, yeah.
The BBC, yeah. Why did I go for more English then?
Yeah, I know.
But I think, no, you have become like a nightly fixture on LinkedIn, especially for people who use LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You're on it every night.
Yeah, we're
part
doing
of our lifestyle.
We're doing like whether you like it or not. We're doing like 3 days a week nowadays. We started off year one, we were doing 5, which is crazy. I mean, that was COVID. That's like we had nothing else going on. So we did 5 days, and then second year we did 4, and the last 2 we've been doing 3 for the most part, unless stuff pops up. But yeah, man, it's good to see you. And I love some of the stuff you've been putting out there on social stuff, especially the stuff with the football club and stuff, sharing some of those stories. I mean, that was pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, I think I've taken time lately to kind of look back at what I've done in my life, and what I can learn from them from a kind of management point of view, and managing people. Because I mean, I can't compete with anyone here with knowledge of the industry. I mean, some people have been working in this industry for years and years and years and years, but where you can kind of learn is leadership and management and managing people, and that's what's important to me, is managing people. Because, you know, I'm the owner of the company, but do I work as hard as some of these people? No. They're the bread and butter. They're the glue what holds the company together, and that's what I've learned over the last few years, really, to push that, really.
You know, it's funny. I think I remember meeting you, and it may not have been the first time, but it seemed like the first time we spent meaningful time together. What was it, Grable Alliance? I think it was
in the bar in Denver.
Yeah, 3, 4, 5 years ago now, maybe
3 o'clock in the morning, and we were like, "What do we do with our lives?"
Yeah. Like anything was going to be solved at that time.
Well, it was.
But it never, we were all like, we need to quit our jobs and go start a company. And just,
you need to start a TV
We need to be in the boss here is what we need to do. This is great. Yeah. How's having your own firm now been working out for you?
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard, isn't it? People are like, oh, the boss, he's got it all so easy. He wears these fancy jackets and just smiles all the time.
I can smile all the time. A false smile. No, it's
if you
hard.
Didn't smile, we'd cry, right?
It's very hard work. I think it's very lonely as well.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing a talk tomorrow for the leadership IAM Leadership Alliance tomorrow.
Yeah.
Talking about emotional leadership. And it's one of these things at the minute. Everyone's talking about AI, but I keep saying no. It's EI, emotional intelligence, and it's all about connecting with your members of employees and staff, and without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So.
You know, that's really needed. That's a great lesson for us to learn and a message for us to hear. I don't think as a moving industry, I'll make a broad generalization, but, you know, we're not always the most emotionally intelligent. You know, we come from an industry, there's a lot of hard work and a lot of, you know, you're out there and you're busting your butt, you know, and you're working real hard. It's kind of tough guy industry sometimes, you know, and I don't know that we're always as in tune with our emotions and, you know, leading with that all the time.
No, it's down to this kind of manly image that generationally that the moving industry has, isn't it?
Right.
Where man can't cry. But you know, the message is these days, man can cry, and we do cry, right?
Yeah, every night.
All the time.
Yeah.
I cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, every night. Yeah.
Especially if you're not on.
Being CEO. Mondays and Fridays. No, this is great. Okay. Well, besides you speaking on that panel, what is the number one thing you're looking forward to this year at the IAM conference in Toronto?
Do you know what? I've not been since 2015.
Wow.
Yeah. This is my first one. This is my third
How
one.
is it different now? It's been
bigger.
7 years?
It's bigger.
1,900 people. This is the biggest one in 10 years. And it's in Toronto.
And the exhibitor hall was something you'd always avoid. Now you're drawn to it. You have to come here.
Well, we want to make it happening. You know, we want to make this the center, the hub, the place to be.
And it is. And why are you watching this anyway? You should be here.
You should be here.
Right.
We got people checking in from Nigeria. This is great. There's Simon Hood. Hey, connect with Simon on LinkedIn here. We got Jason from Singapore checking in. Qualified Moving Systems, Relo Mobility. We got Rome in the house. What's up, Walter from Rome? This is fantastic. Hit that like button. We're going to wrap up here. Too much is going on out here. We got to go.
Everyone keeps waving to Ben.
See the people.
He can't concentrate.
People like, give me what's up. People are like, are you live? Are you live? Can I come up there now? Like, no, go away. I gotta look serious right now.
Make sure you put a photo up of the set. So people
photo of the set. Okay, we got requests. We're taking requests here. This is great. Simon Hood now is producing the show.
Sorry.
This is fantastic. We're gonna get out of here, y'all. We will see you tomorrow. We're doing 2